Hi everyone, I hope you're well. Thank you for tuning back into the channel again. I thought this week I would make a brief video about how more and more kind of middle-aged creators, so people 40, 45, 50, 55, specifically the over 50s, are kind of turning to YouTube to kickstart their careers. I mean, it's no secret that with the way the economy is in UK and other countries, and rapid rise in AI taking over certain jobs, specifically in areas like marketing, sales, customer service, call centers. It can do like data management, it can do diary management, like if you're an executive assistant and stuff. It can do emails, it can do phone calls. So this is having an impact in the workplace, which I'm sure all of us are kind of aware of, and as a result, more and more people are looking at ways that they can perhaps do something different, take advantage of technology, and specifically YouTube, but also other platforms. And so we're going to be looking at that today. I've got some kind of case studies in front of me. We're going to be reading off the screen a bit, but also it's important to remember you've got to have a good niche, so because there's so many people in the travel space, travel and hospitality space, vlogging and doing travel vlogs. You've really got to have something a little bit kind of niche, bespoke, or if it is something that other people are doing, you've got to be able to do it in a better way. And look, times are tough. If you could do something different and have a bit more freedom and have a bit more money and a new lease of life to your career and something you enjoy doing, then why wouldn't you do it? So okay, so look, I've got some stuff in front of me, but these are kind of older people who've got into YouTube, and they are quite a bit older than me, by the way, just so you don't draw any comparisons. But look, the first one's called a bit of a weird name to pronounce, Hamoko Mori. She was 51 when she began, in 1981, that is, after being inspired by her grandfather's gaming habits. She made a YouTube debut in 2014, aged 84, quite old, eh? It's basically the content type she was doing was like video games and live streams and stuff like that. Again, a little bit quirky, a little bit different, especially at that moment in time. So her milestone, Guinness World Record holder as the oldest gaming YouTuber. And apparently she built a massive following, hundreds of thousands of subscribers. I mean, I've got like 1,276 subscribers, and that was tough just to get there. And all these algorithms change, you see, for not just on YouTube but on all the social media platforms. So if you've had like a good run where you managed to achieve that, it might become more difficult as the algorithm pivots to favor different creators of different ages and different types of content and stuff. So okay, so the next one's called Tim Rowett, born 1942, YouTube launched 2008, in his mid-60s. He was like showcasing toys, optical illusions, and like really quirky stuff out of his. He had a collection of 20,000 to 25,000 different items, and I sense it was more of a quirky channel. But you see, that's the thing, it was something different from the normal travel vlogs that people like to do. There's loads of travel vlogs out there, and they're not all the same quality. One of my favorite channels is like the Luxury Travel Expert. I'd love to be in that space, doing like really classy, going to the Maldives and doing classy resorts. And I'm not quite sure if it's a guy or a girl that does that. I once saw them walk in front of a mirror, and they're a doctor apparently, whether it's a he or she, and that's obviously helps with the finances and stuff. Or they were a doctor, that's what it says on their website. I'm not actually sure if it's a male or female, but they do it very, very well. And they're always in like the Mauritius and the Maldives, and these luxury 5-star hotels around the world, and I'd love to be doing that. And that's something a bit different, in the sense that a lot of the younger creators or even middle-aged creators who'd love to be doing that, you need to have resources, and you need to be a lot further ahead with your subscriber count. I mean, I haven't got it in front of me, but let's see if I can bring it up. Yeah, they got over 1 million subscribers, and that makes a big difference, you see, as opposed to having sort of 1,300. So let's just see if I can bring it up a minute, and I'll tell you the exact amount of yeah, here we go, 10 secs. So yeah, they've got 1.3, is it 1.32 or yeah, 1.33 million subscribers and 602 videos. So the fact we've got that amount of subscribers is a testament to the fact that they do what they do really well. And you know, when you've got that amount of subscribers, it's a lot easier to go to approach these hotels, these resorts, these airlines for some kind of collaborative sponsorship opportunity, because they can see that, you know, they're going to reach 1.33 million subscribers, you know, through the channel. So yeah, anyway, look, enough about that. But you know, that's the space I would like to be. And just getting back to what I was saying, you know, it's all about looking ahead to how you can pivot to the channel and what you can do next. Because I mean, my sector is digital marketing. Now I totally get that not everyone loves that, not everyone gets excited about that, not everyone finds that interesting, and people find it a lot more interesting to relax with the, you know, the kind of travel vlogs and stuff. But you know, because there's so many people doing it, you've got to, you know, somehow do it better, or find something really unique in the way you deliver it, and you know, the type of content you make, basically. Because if you just sound the same as everyone else, you're gonna struggle, you know. So let's get back to this. So that was the Tim Rowett guy. There's quite a few of these. One's called Emily Kim, age when she began, around 60 years old, specifically around age 66, that's what it says here. The type of content she was making was Korean cooking tutorials, dubbed the Julia Child of Korean cuisine. So you see, it's something different, something unique. She had millions of subscribers and a best-selling cookbook in her name. Okay, there's another one here. There's loads and loads of these things. Clara, a bit of a weird name, it sounds Italian. Clara Canasuiara, something like that. You'll find it if you Google it. Age when she started in her 90s. Wow, that's quite old. Much older than me. I mean, I'm not even 55. Right, so channel Great Depression cooking. Yeah, I did read that right. Sharing recipes and stories from her childhood during the 1930s, because the Great Depression, you know, the period, you know, during the Second World War, certainly what led to the actual, you know, it's different factors. It's one of the factors that led to the Second World War, the Great Depression. So legacy, heartwarming, educational content that continues to be celebrated. You know, like, this kind of content resonates with a certain audience and age group, and you know, it's all about, I get the feeling that a lot of creators nowadays, they like to kind of choose a very generic niche and present it in a very generic way. If you can just kind of double down on what you do and present it in a way which is different, because there's only going to be one you, right? You know, your personality and, you know, your take on stuff. So if you can just kind of double down and, you know, research and present and make content more interesting, you know, that's going to help you. The algorithm now favors watch times, so favors, you know, not only creators who are a little bit older, a little bit more educated, but it also favors, you know, people who are going to watch the content, you know, watch the content, you know. So if they're watching the content, that will help your channel grow, you know, if that makes sense. Okay, so John Sedano, this is another one, elder content creator known for comedic song covers, particularly incorporating Smash Mouth's All-Star, Smash Mouth's All-Star in brackets, resonating widely across ages. See, I've never heard of that, but it's a bit more of a kind of bespoke niche. Peter Oakley, born 1927, started on YouTube in 2006 in his late 70s. The genre, autobiographical vlogs showing life stories from World War II, motorcycles and personal life. A trailblazer for older vloggers and deeply resonated with the YouTube community. Yeah, but there's tons and tons of it. I mean, I'm not going to read them all out, I haven't got time, but there's tons and tons. You know, I'm looking on different platforms as well. Yeah, there's literally loads of them. So some people have had huge success, some people have made a huge amount of money, some people are earning six-figure sums, you know, aged over 50, over 60. But it is more complicated and more nuanced than just, you know, having a travel blog and putting like a GoFundMe link up or a buy me a coffee link up. You need to be like a real ninja, real pro at what you do. And if you can just, you know, it's all about research, you know, research what everyone else is doing and then try and find something different, because, you know, YouTube is global. You know, a lot of the social media platforms, even Facebook and stuff, they're very regionalized. So that means they're not in every country and they're not as popular in every country as they are in some other countries, whereas YouTube being part of Google, you know, okay, it's not in every single country, but it's global, it's got a global reach. So if you can just try and, you know, make your content as interesting, you know, educational, informative, engaging as possible, you're going to have a lot more luck with that. And, you know, like, that's why I got into YouTube. I mean, you know, I'm middle-aged, so I'm like, let's just say I'm over 40, you know, hovering around a very lower mark of 50. But, you know, it does, you know, whilst I've got job skills, you know, I work in marketing, you know, I know a lot about it. I've been doing it for a long time, but, you know, the societal shifts are happening, you know, with regard to the AI technology and the way the skills that employers look for, the way that jobs are found and you know, even lost sometimes. And you know, the whole game's changing, and, you know, it's about making use of what you have in terms of skills. It's about making use of the technology, and it's about looking ahead a little bit as well. Where do you want to be? What kind of freedom do you want to have, both financial and, you know, what kind of autonomy do you want to have? You know, because, you know, for some people, you know, they just want to work, you know, do a 9-to-5 job until they're, you know, retirement age. But with the way the world's going, a lot of people are realizing that that's not giving them the life they want, and they'd much rather be, you know, in some nice place or traveling to nice places and working with brands and partners on sponsorship deals and stuff like that. And I totally get it, but you just got to have the right product, and by that I mean like a YouTube channel that, you know, reaches as many people as possible, that is, you know, highly targeted in terms of niche, a little bit bespoke, and most importantly, people have got to find it interesting. Like, you know, I enjoy digital marketing, but, you know, I accept that not everyone kind of finds that so exciting. I mean, sometimes, you know, I can make a video, put like a couple of hours to it and get one like, you know, which seems ridiculous to me. Other times, you know, I made videos and I've got like 110 likes, so it does vary. But, you know, broadly speaking, I think people do enjoy the, you know, from a viewer perspective, I think people do enjoy the, you know, escapism type videos. You know, they get home from work, they're a bit fed up with the way the day's gone, with the way the week's gone, with the way the month's gone, or in some cases like the year, and you know, they're looking for inspiration, they're looking for answers, they're looking for something that they could possibly do themselves, you know, a way to escape from daily reality. So if you can make these kind of high class videos around, you know, resorts and hotels, and there is an increasing number of people doing it, but if you can do it better, you know, have the right format to it and stuff, and, you know, that will probably help you a lot more in terms of subscribers. You know, that's what people look for. I mean, it's not the only thing people look for, but like I said, a lot of people get home from work, they're bored, they're fed up with the daily grind, and they want a bit of escapism. So, you know, I've seen some creators who've gone down that route, and, you know, they've managed to get a lot of subscribers in a short space of time. But that's not the only niche. Just keep your options open. I'm also looking to, you know, I'm not ditch what I'm doing with digital marketing, but just pivot it a little bit more, try and make it a bit more interesting, and, you know, maybe go and see some, you know, some airports, and you look at the technology side of things, and you know, the control tower and the terminal, and you know, airport flight operations and stuff like that. I just want to try to make it a bit more interesting. I don't want to be literally just, you know, telling people what new platforms are out there and stuff like that. That's part of it, but I believe I can kind of expand it and pivot it and make it a bit more interesting. So yeah, look, if you are middle-aged, I'll just wrap up quickly. If you are middle-aged, so you know, you could be 40, 45, 50, 55, even 60 or above, and you find yourself in a position where, you know, you feel like you're not getting noticed much, and your skills might seem not irrelevant, but maybe a bit out of date for kind of, you know, the generation now which is coming up. You know, maybe look into it. You know, I mean, some people have done exactly what I'm talking about on Instagram, on TikTok. YouTube is global, as I said. You know, I prefer YouTube to TikTok. I find the audience demographic is more balanced and more international. I mean, I've got subscribers in, you know, all over really. You know, like, I haven't got that many. When I say I haven't got that many, I think I've got a fair few, but in comparison to some of the people who got like 1 million or 500,000, yeah, I've got a long way to go. But you know, some of those subscribers, you know, they're in places like, you know, obviously the UK is right up there, number 1 or number 2. I've got quite a few in India, Pakistan, Vietnam, Indonesia. I've got quite a lot there. The US, you know, Italy, Spain, Egypt, you know, so yeah, it's quite spread out, but it's a work in progress. And you know, obviously the people who subscribe speak English or understand English to a reasonable degree or level, because my channel is made it, you know, my videos in English. But you know, I'm always looking for ways to just kind of make things a bit more interesting and, you know, a bit more appealing with because, you know, so obviously I totally get some of the videos I make, you know, slightly longer. It was a bit of brain frazzle, a bit technical, and you know, that appeals to some people, especially business owners and solo entrepreneurs. But ultimately, you know, people want to get home from work, you know, they want to whack on the headphones, they want a bit of escapism. Now, it doesn't have to be on a desert island. It could be, you know, looking at the you know, the technology, you know, on a big cruise line. It could be, do you see what I mean? You know, I mean, I watched a great cruise vlog the other day from a guy started off doing like a walk with channel. I think it's called Walk with Tim, and he went on like a Virgin Voyages cruise from Lisbon to Portsmouth one way, and yeah, I found it really engaging. You know, I mean, you know, it was almost like I was there. You know, so if you can make videos like that, and try and team up with different product company. I think this guy did a sponsored video of Insta360. If you can just try and look at, you know, different maybe travel bag providers or different tech providers, different digital camera providers, different VPN providers, you know, different travel insurance providers, anything like that. But you've got to be able to sell it to them, you see. So, you know, if you've got like 100 subscribers, you know, we're not going to touch you. If you've got, you know, 3,000 and you cut a bit of 3,000 subscribers, 2,000 subscribers, and you cut a bit of a deal with them, you know, and not be quite so greedy, you know, they might buy into it. Maybe you could try another strategy where you do some, you know, videos for a third party for free, more or less, just to get 10 under your belt, so to speak. But look, it's all a journey. You know, I don't want to kind of give the impression that you're going to be able to make it, you know, with sort of 200 quid and 6 months work. It's not going to happen. So, but anyway, look, I'll leave that one there. Thank you for watching the video. Hope you found it useful, especially the theme around alter creators and stuff, and I hope to see you on the next video.